The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday, happy Earth Day, and thank you for being here. This is Brenda Harrelson, and we are here for your weekly KW Technology Community Webinar. So hopefully I am coming across loud and clear. I hear a few happy Fridays, so I will take that to mean yes, that I am. Okay, as you can see, here is our agenda for today. We're going to talk about SSO, the fact that it's now connected to KWU Connect, and just a little bit more about SSO in the background. And then we're going to talk about actually two new resource pages that we have added on KWU Connect, one for KW websites and then another brand new one that we just loaded yesterday for KWLS. So we'll talk about those. We definitely want your feedback. And then we have a guest speaker, a second guest speaker from the tech community. His name is Robert Greenstreet, MC Tech, and he's going to talk about how he uses the Chrome Remote Desktop, how that's really saved time and streamlined the operations at the front desk in his market center. So that is the agenda, and my first guest speaker is not on yet, so we are actually going to change the order just a bit, and we'll come back to SSO. That is Mike Slookett, by the way, and I think he is tied up in something previous, but will be joining us soon. So one moment while I jump down to the new resource page. Okay, so here's a screenshot of what it looks like. If you go into KWU Connect and search for resource KW websites, you should find this page. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it up live so that we can go through it together. And I want to ask you to all review it, make comments, what you like about it, what we could add to it, so that it's even more helpful to you and for your agents in your market center. Okay, so here's the resource page. So scroll down a little bit, and what we try to do is just get every common question and link, at least get you to that point where you can find your answer all on one page. So we created these icons just to make it more easily identifiable to find what you're looking for. But we have a demo link, and that's a short video. This is great for your team leaders that maybe want something real quick and easy to talk about in a recruiting pitch, or you just want to explain it quickly to new agents what it's all about. The demo video will give an overview and the benefits of KW websites. Rollout, so that's going to take you to the calendar, and you can see MLS by MLS which group you are in. When your MLS has rolled out, this login link, well, the login link takes you to this page, and then depending on when your website is ready or not, you'll see a link here or this note telling you that it's not quite ready. Setup, it's just that. It's a video that goes step by step on all of the site administration settings. Then a workshop. So this is one of the products for which we've created a training class in a box, if you will, that you can download and teach in your classroom, in your market center. And then finally, a link to FAQs. If you haven't noticed, our FAQs are now in this new look and feel, desk.com. It's a lot easier to read them. The search is great. So anything to do with KW website FAQs, just set that filter, and you can find all of the most recent questions through April 8th. So we're always adding more. The best way to get a question answered and logged in here is to email it to support@kw.com, and then it's added to this knowledge base if it's a new question. And if you have comments, just like these users are doing, go ahead and review the page, be honest, what else would you like to see on it? And these are very quick and easy for us to update. Okay, I see that Mike is on. Hi, Mike. So I will change it over to Mike in just 1 minute. Since I'm on a roll here with resource pages, I want to show you that there's also one for KWLS. So one moment while I bring that up. Okay, so this is hot off the presses. We just put this out last night. So again, same idea, one page where you can go to get support and training resources for KWLS. So the icons here similar. This is how you log in to KWLS. The door intro is just kind of, again, a what's it all about type video. Setup is just what are the basic steps I need to do to make sure that my listings are in there. How it works, we can definitely beef this section up as we're able to, but this is a video that explains how listings flow through from ListHub all the way through to the portals. And if there's questions about that, submit those questions and that will help us beef that up. Documents, there is a manual. I will warn you that it is old, but it's out there. It's what we found, and it serves a purpose for now. We will work on updating it, but at least you've got something in writing. While the screenshots might look a little bit different, the process is essentially the same. And then this FAQ link will take you to a search filtered on KWLS. And these are also being updated. In fact, our support team added 3 new articles this week on KWLS. In fact, this coming next Friday, I think that it's either next Friday or the one after, where we're going to dedicate a good chunk of the webinar to KWLS, reviewing these FAQs. We'll have one of our support team members join and just answer all of your questions and hopefully clear up any confusion around KWLS and ListHub and how that all works. Okay, and so one more time, the question is, how do I find these resources pages? Go into KW Connect. Right now there isn't a menu item to find them, but if you just type in resource, let's go back to KW website, for example, and here it is in the list. It's also, if you come over here to the left, you can see that you can filter out your results in KWU Connect by the type. So there's actually a type called resource. So you could clear all of those selections and just look at resources. And so we've searched for KW website resources, and there it is. Okay, so again, we appreciate your feedback and input, suggestions on both of those resource pages, and you can expect to see pages like this for each one of our products, so it's just quick and easy for you to find what you need. So we're always trying to improve the accessibility of all of the information that we have. Okay, so bear with me one moment while I bring on Mike Silkett, who is going to talk to you about SSO. Okay, so we should be able to hear Mike in just a moment.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you okay. Everybody else can, if you can hear Mike, give him raise your hand. Click the hand icon. Yes. Yep, sounds like you're on.
Okay, great. Well, happy Friday, everybody. I want to thank Brenda and the training and implementation team for allowing me to come in here and talk to you guys about SSO. Brenda, are you going to step through the slides, or am I going to do that on my end?
Either way, I can do it for you, or you can show it if you're more comfortable.
I'm going to let you do it since you're the expert. This technology freaks me out here. So, I'm kidding, by the way. Anyway,
gives us great confidence.
Yeah, I know. It is a Friday, and it was a pizza Friday around here, guys. So if I'm a little slow, you'll forgive me. But so we're going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you today about SSO, and you guys. This probably goes without saying, but let me just point out that we talk to you all very differently about SSO than we would to our agents, right? And that's because we know that you guys understand. Like, I wouldn't have the conversation with a real estate agent about SSO. So I would use an analogy. Our vision for SSO is to have Keller Williams Technologies work in much the same way that Google Technologies do, in that you have a single set of credentials that give you access to the Keller Williams suite of tools, right? So SSO may or may not be something that causes anxiety for agents, single sign-on. I don't know if it sounds too techy for them or not, but just to take a step back, that's our vision, is that you manage a single set of credentials for all the Keller Williams tools. So we've got some exciting announcements. So we released our first version of our SSO infrastructure in March. And, I'd be really happy if some of you told me that you didn't even know that happened. I know that the login page has changed a little bit, and so if you're very savvy, I'm sure you noticed that. Hopefully nobody here was impacted with their credentials. That was certainly our goal, is, you able to log in today the same way you always have. So we did that in March, and what this allows us to do now that we have this in place is we can take all these other components of the Keller Williams technology stack and slowly integrate them in. And so what we've done most recently is KW Connect has also moved over to our single sign-on as well. And I believe there's a little splash page that tells you this, because you may have logged into KW Connect with different credentials, and now what you're using is you're using your My KW credentials to access that. So that's something we're very excited about. There's a lot more coming. Just internally, some of the next steps are Green Sheet, KWLS, all the wonderful things, all the wonderful Keller Williams tech is going to, now that we have this base in place, we're gonna slowly move all of the Keller Williams products over. And guys, there's about 70 different Keller Williams products in some form or fashion in our suite. So I know that sounds like a lot. So to have them all under the same credentials is a big, big step, and we're really excited to bring that to you guys. Okay, so next slide. All right, so just a reminder, and some of this is if you guys were at Family Reunion, these are some of the same things, but just a reminder that SSO increases options for our agents. One size does not fit all. More and more, as part of our strategy, we are partnering up with companies such as Playster for the new KW websites, for CRM, for transactions. We're going to partner more and more for these, because we want to bring you guys the best technologies, and we don't want to compete against the best website producers or the best CRMs, or fill in the blank there. We are going to go out and use what we call strategic partners for that. So SSO helps us integrate these strategic partners in a very quick way, in a very secure way, in a way that scales and helps us provide a big technology suite to 150,000 real estate agents out there. This also, because of security and scalability, it decreases our risk and our support and administration costs. Before we released SSO, it took several weeks to integrate a new partner, and this is something that we can do sometimes in a matter of days now, or if it happens ideally, it could even be a few hours. So this really is a technology that is going to allow us to bring new technology to our associates in a much quicker way. Okay. So identity management, let's talk about that a little bit. One of the things that you may have noticed is now when you log into My Keller Williams, if you don't already have a kw.com email address, we're going to ask you to create one. And the reason for that is that we need the one thing that everybody can remember, that such that by remembering it, it makes it easier for you to access all those wonderful things we were talking about. So that is going to increasingly become more and more based around your email address. So whenever you log into MyKW, we're going to ask you to create one if you don't have one. You don't have to do it right then and there, but what that allows you to do is it speeds up the process, because also if you try to access, let's say we create a new Keller Williams website for you and you're excited to go see your website and you want to get in there and you want to pop the hood and you want to play with all the cool new features. If you don't have a KW.com email address, then that's something that we're going to have to ask you to create, and there's an approval process, and that's something that could take, you know, as much as 1 to 2 business days. We want everybody to do that up front so you don't have to wait for the technologies as they come out. So very, very important, and you guys definitely want to encourage all of your agents to, if they haven't done it already, go and set that up. All right, so some of the objection handling that we talked about at Family Reunion is, well, if I set up my KW.com email address and that's what I use for my identity, I won't be able to use my AOL or my Yahoo or my branded email or whatever it is that I've used for years that's on my business cards and all those things. So that's not true. It can and it will be used for your identity, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you use it within those tools. So there'll be a place, the new KW websites is a great example. Even though that is used as part of your identity, you can go in and set up any other email address that you want to use for your communications within that. So the second one is, well, I'll have to check another email account every day. Also not true. So we really hope that you guys are using and excited about the Google Apps for Work accounts that you get for Keller Williams. And we hope that if you have other email accounts that you're forwarding to your Keller Williams account, but if you're not, you can certainly set up forwarding and go to the email of your choice and consolidate your inboxes that way. And then will you still have to remember your password? Sorry, that one's true. We're working on a solution for that, but that may be a while coming. So still have to have your login credentials. All right, and then as we talked about earlier, what if you don't have one? Don't worry, we'll remind you. We're going to remind you when you log into Keller Williams, unless you click on that button to say, stop bugging me about this. We're going to ask you to create one. And then again, if you try to access a Keller Williams technology, as we slowly start to integrate these, when you try to access it, if you don't have that set up already, we're going to remind you again. And keep in mind that, you know, however long it takes to set that up will be a little while where you and your associates won't be able to access those tools. So again, we encourage you to set it up early, have it ready to go so that you don't have to wait on that. All right, I think that is the last slide. Brenda, did you see any, are there any questions? I'd be happy to field some questions in here, or just feedback on what you guys think about the new Keller Williams credential system.
Thank you, Mike. A couple of questions. One is about WolfNet back office. Is that included in SSO?
Yeah, we have a.
Oh, go ahead.
It isn't today, but we have a very long list of Keller Williams applications that we've prioritized here. So you know, some of these, obviously, if your credentials change, there's going to have to be a communication plan that goes out with how this works, you know, because one day you log in with one set of credentials and now all of a sudden you're using your MyKW credentials. We understand that. So yes, WolfNet is on the list. Where it will fall in the rollout schedule is not something I can tell you right now, but all of our Keller Williams technologies, whether it be through a partner or technologies that we've built, are on the list for integration.
Okay, and then just a comment that, another objection I would assume, a lot of agents aren't liking the KW.com email because of Google Wallet restrictions and space in the email accounts, AdWords. So I don't know if you want to talk about some of the roadmap items. I know this isn't definitely your area, but what's coming with Google?
Yes, so we are, Wallet specifically is something that we are working directly with Google on, and I'll be, again, I talk a little bit more openly with you guys than I might with agents, but the challenge on Wallet specifically is that, you know, we provide the Keller Williams email addresses, and then when associates leave our organization, we decommission them. So we commission them and decommission them as agents come in and out of our system. The challenge with Wallet is that associates can hold a balance on those Wallet accounts. So whenever if an associate leaves and they have a balance in that account, oddly enough, it's tough to get a straight answer with what happens to those funds and how do you get it back to the agent and how do you make sure money doesn't sit in that account. So that's the reason that we haven't turned on Wallet, and that's something we're working very closely with Google on. And then once we solve that problem, associates will be able to go in and extend their storage and buy extra storage if that's something they need. So it's something that Keller Williams is very aware of, that Google is very aware of, and we're working on a solution. Now, having said that, again, setting up a KW.com email address and using it for your identity doesn't mean that's your sole email and that you can't set up a different Google account or some other account to use this. So we think that the Google Apps for Work accounts works very well for probably 95% of our associates. If you fall in that 5% and you have needs outside that, having a KW.com email address doesn't mean that you can't use something else. It just means that this is part of your identity. So I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you. Yes, very much so. Okay, I am going to now, so thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys have further questions that you think of as we move on, just type them in, and as I see them come in, Mike and I can get them answered and report back to you next week. So
right. Thank you, Brenda.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, so let's switch over and bring on our second guest. You are going to now hear from Robert Greenstreet. Let me go ahead and bring up his presentation for you. And this is in response to a call I did a couple of weeks ago for your favorite Chrome browser extensions. I showed you one that Kevin and I like. It's the full screen print. It's really helpful in doing documentation. And asked if you all had any favorites, and Robert said he did. He wants to talk about Chrome Remote Desktop. So hello, Robert.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so I will let you take control of the screen here so you can show what you've got.
Do I get to decide which screen I'm showing?
You do get to decide that. There should be a little drop down that lets you select.
Are we seeing the presentation over there?
Yes.
Okay. And did that advance a slide?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, my name's Robert. I'm with Keller Williams Realty Gulf Coast in Pensacola, Florida. I wanted to take a couple minutes to show you Chrome Remote Desktop. This is a Chrome extension, so if you don't already have Chrome installed, you would want to get that. And it enables you to remotely access any computer you install it on for free. You do have to actually physically be at this computer to install it in the first place, but then after that you can access it remotely. To get it, you want to make sure that you are signed into Chrome. Up in the top right corner of your browser, there's either your name if you are signed into Chrome, or a little silhouette of a person. You would just click on that and sign in there. And then we're going to go to the Chrome Web Store. That's chrome.google.com/web store, and search for Chrome Remote Desktop. That's the first one on the list here. And just as a side note, if you ever see that little G in the bottom right corner of the list item, that means it's an official Google extension, so you can feel safe using that. So we're going to click on Add to Chrome. It'll drop down and say Add Chrome Remote Desktop to your browser. You tell it yes. And then you would visit your Apps page on Chrome, which if you're showing your bookmarks bar, it'll be directly beneath the back button on the browser. And this is going to be the icon that has the two screens with the Chrome logo inside one of them. That's the app once it's installed. When you open it up, it's going to ask you for permission to access your Google account. After you allow that, it's going to ask permission to access your computer. So you continue with that, and this is what you're going to see. Then you click on that Get Started button in the bottom section, and you'll see something similar to this. I already have it enabled on this computer, so it's actually not going to show exactly what you see. But that button to the right of that first computer on the list is going to say Enable Remote Connections, and this is the one thing I don't have a slide for. When you do that, it's going to download an installer from Google to install the remote desktop service, and that's a one-time thing for each computer you're installing this on that you want to access remotely. Once you do that and you've added a few computers, or actually for each computer, it's going to ask you to create a PIN for that computer specifically. It has to be at least 6 digits, and it is all numbers. And it's up to you whether you use the same PIN for all of your computers or if you use a separate PIN for each computer. And then once you've got them added, I've got several for the Market Center. I use this to access almost every computer that the Market Center owns in all of our satellite offices and everything. We've got a slideshow that I show in the lobbies, and I can access it and update it and all that from one central location without having to travel to all of those locations. And to access any of the computers, you just click on it, and it's going to ask you for that PIN that you created. And you can, on each computer, you can tell it to save the PIN for accessing the other computer. And if you don't want to do that for security reasons, that's fine. If you've got one computer that only you have access to and you're using that one to access all of the others, it may be time-saving for you to do that. And then once you're in, you can do anything that you would be able to if you were sitting right in front of that computer, aside from anything to do with the Windows key. Like you can't hit the Start Windows key on your keyboard and have the Start menu pop up. I'm going to show you really quickly what it looks like live. This is my installation, and I'm going to show you one of those slideshows that we run. This is one of our computers showing in the window in our Gulf Breeze office. And depending on the internet connection, both on your end and on the connecting computer's end, it may take a minute. But this is what it looks like. It's showing you the entire screen on there, and I can do anything that I would if I was sitting right in front of that computer. I'm going to minimize the slideshow. I could refresh this. I could hit the Start button and go install something or change a setting or anything you could do if you were right there. I've got to restart that. And that's pretty much it. It's a really simple service. It's connected to your Google account, which can be your @kw.com account, which is what I've used, or it can be any other Google account.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Yeah, a couple questions did come in. Thank you very much. That's great, and setup is super quick. Well, the most popular question usually is, can we get a copy of this presentation? Yes, Robert did document in screenshots and notes everything that he just showed you, and they're included in our normal Friday webinar slide deck, so those will be available. Robert, can this be accessed from a smartphone?
I have not tried that. I doubt it because it is a Chrome extension, and I believe it's a desktop extension.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good question. Nope, just a lot of accolades. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you very much. You guys, good luck.
Yeah, and if again, it's always open. If anybody else out there has a really cool trick that you've learned in your Market Center that you want to share, let me know, and you can be featured on an upcoming webinar. So thanks again. If you would just, I'll pass the presentation roll back to me.
Not 100% certain how to do that.
There we go. Okay, I've gotten it. Thank you. Okay, we are about out of time, and so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Just take a look at what we have coming up next in the way of webinars. So since I'm already live here on my KW, I want to remind you that when you click on technology on the black menu bar, just on that word, right here, this is just, again, for webinars that are available to all associates related to technology. This tells you what each Monday's webinar focuses on. So Monday the 25th coming up is a it's a Leading Edge Technology Strategies webinar. It's the fourth Monday where we're going to have an agent. In this case, it's Paul Arve. He's also an ambassador and tech coordinator, share his best practices with his KW website, early adopter with his websites, and he also leads a group on Facebook. To register for that and all fourth Monday webinars, you can just click this link. Same for all the other series, and then here you have a link to all the recordings if you missed or want to review a webinar. So this page, again, is My KW Technology. Okay, and then finally, to wrap up today, the closing slide today features these Google Doodles, if you've been on Google today. So they always have the coolest doodles. These are for Earth Day, and I will send you a link. It's a 1-minute video that's on this page that kind of talks about the theme, the thinking behind these Google Doodles this year and what they mean. So it's a very visual video. And anyway, if you're doing anything for Earth Day, go ahead and send that into the questions field. I will be doing a lot of recycling. I'm cleaning up my house. So anything else that sounds more fun than that, I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, thank you all for being here. And if you have any more questions last minute, type them in. I'll stay on for about 1 more minute to capture them. And then we will be sure to get back to you next week with answers. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.